At this time, I will open the meeting for comments from the public to the board. Would anyone like to address the board? Okay, we're gonna move on. I would need a motion accepting minutes of the previous meeting of May 2nd, 2016.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of meetings of May 2nd. May 2nd.
Second.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. All right, I need a motion accepting the bills, which you have listed in your agenda packet, 7 pages.
Mr. Mayor, we have 4 additions tonight.
4 additions?
4 additions. The first one is business card in the amount of $1,494.79. It's MUA, Nikon meeting expenses for the mayor and the administrator. Supplies for the library storage grant and the notary seminar.
Okay, so noted.
The second one is New York Power Authority, the amount of $87,342.80. That's the monthly bill and installation program expenditures. NICEC, a monthly wheeling charge, $17,389.14. And our Pitney Bowes Global Financial, $1,141.44. That's our mailing system.
Okay. Those wheeling charges are what we get charged for using their lines to bring the power to us. Everybody pays. But since we're a municipal letting department, we're able to charge rate. Okay, we have those 4 additions. If there's no further, I'd make a motion to accept the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
For a second,
Second.
discussion?
Just one question before we fold it up. The earth science engineers on page 2, their invoice 1637. What do we get for that $2,050? This is professional engineering services.
Page 2,
Yes.
first science engineering. Professional engineer fees. Do we know? Yeah.
That is for Doug Ferris's evaluation for the automation of the water plant. That's a project he has been working on for the last board and this board. And we'll be using that evaluation to submit to Senator Little for a capital project, hoping to be successful at securing $200,000 in grant money.
Is this a continuing bill? Every month he sends us a bill, is this a final bill?
He's on retainer, isn't he? He's currently on retainer.
Okay.
As needed basis.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, we also, well, I'm sure you guys are going to talk about meeting with CFC. There was also one other question posed to me, and that was for the repair of the roof at the railroad station. Let's see. Down Diesel, yeah. Okay, it's on page 2. There's 2 amounts here. I remember we said we had made a motion that we had 2 tiles missing, 2 slates missing. Said, well, we had to have, would he please add 1 more when it came out? So he charged us, he did it at the same time, or did he do it at a different time?
No, same time.
So for 1 tile, he charged us $500.
Well, I had no idea, I don't know.
Well, $495 and $495, both on the 16th. So we're seeing an addition of 1 tile being replaced for $495.
But you don't know how long, I mean, you might have to take off a dozen tiles.
I know, that's what I'm saying, he did it at the same time, but
Right.
that's
I
what.
know he was there for a good 3 hours, I know that.
He had to have scaffolding and
You went
stuff.
twice, didn't you?
No, I think he did it all the same day.
Well, the invoice dates are the same, but that doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
mean.
Well, if you brought one into Donna, then the day he was gonna fix that, he brought in another one.
Okay.
Because you said to go ahead and fix that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had a tile missing, we had to fix it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, as long as, you observe the work and it's
Yeah.
been good. Okay, so any further discussion on the bills? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. All right, correspondence.
There is no correspondence.
There is no correspondence, nobody's writing to us. All right, well, I have the pleasure now of making a presentation. I'm going to come down in front to former trustee Brad Martin. Brad, if you come forward. The village would like to present this to you. It says, presented to Brad Martin in recognition and appreciation for your dedicated service to the residents of the village of Rouses Point as a village of trustee from 2012-2016. We appreciate it, Brad.
Thank you,
Thanks
sir.
for all your good work. Okay.
Speech.
Thank you, Village of Ross's Point, for giving me 4 years of service.
Well, we do appreciate the time and effort. Okay, I'll do the motion, resolution 2016-18 on the sewer rate resolution. Let me see. Do I have that in my packet? Let me see. Sewer rate resolution. Residential users with unmetered water connections have been charged $34 per user per month connection to single family dwelling, so it's a $2 increase. I would need a motion to approve this resolution.
Make a motion to approve the sewer rate resolution.
Sewer rate resolution. Thank you. Second,
Second?
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. All right, village administrator and I attended the MEUA conference, April 26th and 28th in Albany. That's the Municipal Electric Utilities Association. It's made up of about 38 different villages. This organization is the one that negotiates on our behalf to purchase power from Niagara, and presently about 86% of our power that we purchase is hydroelectric power, renewable energy. Our current contract for this runs through 2020. The negotiations are underway for the next contract. We do have strength in numbers. Individually, we simply couldn't come up with the ability to negotiate with such a large entity and get the rates that we're getting. Some of the things that we do have to do, we must maintain ongoing energy efficiency programs for the New York Power Authority, and that's the Independent Energy Efficiency Program you guys talked about. We are mandated to participate in that in order to show our energy savings, number of kilowatt hours that we save, and that allows MEUA to show that their members are in fact participating in this and are saving energy. They're trying to move models from the traditional substations to distributed energy resources, and obviously that's a ways down the road, but we certainly want to do it. The IEP program right now, is about a $40 million company. We all the different communities contribute to this, but the money that you contribute is yours. Nobody gets to use it, but the municipality that puts it in there. But having that large of a capital, or that much capital, allows for quicker gains. They can, make bigger gains, investment, and grow our money faster. So, I found it, very, very informative, and it certainly is something that without it, we'd be paying more than the 4.5 cents a kilowatt hour that we pay now, which is extremely low. I mean, compared to all of the communities that are in there. Some of the communities that are in there are paying 15 cents kilowatt, 14 cents kilowatt hour. So we're really in good shape with that. So it was an interesting and very informative conference, and it gave us some good background as to our participation in IEP and what it's all about. and how it's simply necessary. We turned right around, and we were absent for the last meeting, that is the administrator and I, because we attended the NICOM conference, May 1st, May 3rd. And again, they called it an annual meeting and training school, and basically it was mostly training all day long, different seminars that you can go to. Give you an example of some of the topics. Town taxation of property within villages, an issue of legality and fairness. You can imagine there was a lot of comments on this, and there was a lot of explanation about how town budgets are formed, how town-wide, the certain taxes can be applied, whereas the town outside of the village are other taxes. So there's 4 parts to that town budget, and it was very interesting to see, and it gives us a basis to to have discussions with our town and make sure that we're all on the same page. There were good presentations on volunteer fire departments, what your role in administering that volunteer fire department is, and how you can do it. Bunch of policies and procedures. I think you guys received an email that I sent you encouraging you to get on the NICOM website, get your own password, make contact with these guys. They're always available to help us, and as members, it doesn't cost us anymore. So it's not billable hours when you're talking to those guys. It's just professional information from a great source, and so I encourage you to continue to do that. I thought it was money well spent and very productive. Okay. You guys have any questions on those conferences or anything you want to ask or talk about? Okay. Next thing we have is an amendment to the schedule of regular meetings, and that would be the addition of a meeting on May 31st at 4:00 p.m. And that will be held
At the village office.
at the village office, and the purpose of that meeting,
It's the end of the fiscal year.
end of the fiscal year around it. So it is a public meeting, people can go to it. It's on, you should all have that schedule, revised schedule in your packet. It will look like that, shows public notice. You should all have that. So the only addition again is the May 31st, 4:00 meeting. Okay, the next thing we've had some,
Mayor, excuse me, I need
Yeah.
a motion to accept that and to publish it as a legal notice.
okay,
Make a motion to accept schedule for regular meetings.
and publish as a legal notice. Okay, I need a second for that. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion's carried. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Okay, there's been some information from our insurance agent about our lack of an athletic insurance policy. I'm gonna ask our village administrator to fill us in on the latest she has on that. I'll give you a little bit of background for what she is. What we have done, and what the county administers the schedules for youth sports. The town administers the programs, and each of the village, although the town has no sports field, they administer the programs, and the 2 villages, in our case, Rouses Point and Champlain, administer, each one has their own recreation leader, so put together teams, get the coach, get the equipment, line the fields, get the umpires, that kind of stuff. To this point, and for the last 8 years, we have used a waiver and release of liability, and just the first paragraph says, the town of Champlain, villages of Rouses Point and Champlain shall not be responsible for any injury or loss of property to any person suffered while playing, practicing, or in any other way involved in the town programs for any reason whatsoever, including ordinary negligence on the part of the town of Champlain, villages of Rouses Point and Champlain, its agents or employees. And it's signed by the parent if the participant is under 18, which is almost all of our participants. We have, so that's what we have done. We've been doing that for, this waiver's been used for 8 years. Our administrators found some things we have to consider. So, Jean?
While we were at NICOM, one of the conversations that I had with the NYMER rep, who is our liability policy holder or issuer, has indicated that our general liability policy does not cover any accidents as it pertains to sporting events at the village.
As to what kind of event?
I'm sorry,
As
sporting
events, okay.
There is a policy, and it's called an athletic policy, that would cover participants, sporting event participants, namely the children that play soccer, baseball, softball. And there would be a cost of that policy of $1,565 a year. That policy would also contain the general liability policy as a part of the entire coverage program. The general liability package that meshes with the athletic policy covers spectator injury or property damage due to the sporting event. So currently, when I spoke with the NYMER rep at NICOM, they indicated, or not NYMER, when I spoke with the NICOM rep, John Mancini, he had indicated that the waiver would not properly cover the village in the event a claim was made for an injury to a sporting, a participant, a child playing on our teams. And therefore, it may behoove the village to pick up that policy, that athletic policy, to cover that gap.
So our general liability policy, like if Benny's down there doing one of his regular 10 laps around the field, he steps a hole and breaks his ankle, that's covered by our general liability
Correct.
policy. However, if this is an organized team playing against another organized team, they're saying it's not covered.
Correct.
But
And-
isn't,
Go ahead.
all these kids are in school anyhow, and they're covered under that insurance, ain't they?
Actually, the school has them sign a waiver like
Right.
this that says you have to go to your own insurance company first. And they've done it. School is not a municipality. I
Right,
mean,
right.
It's a little bit different.
But I thought it would cover them.
Well, they're not, I mean,
Under
this
the
is
sports
these are summer
program.
programs.
Oh,
I mean, these are the
oh,
summer.
because they're not in school, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
These are summer programs that again,
Okay.
it's soccer, well, now it's t-ball, girls softball, boy, all the levels, grasshopper, pony, wrestling, boys are the same thing. The question is, you know, this disclaimer goes on to say, you know, they're holding everybody harmless, and that they would use their own insurance, and we have a general liability policy, so if it was based on negligence, if we didn't properly maintain the field, or, you know, the backstop fell on top of someone, it would be covered even if there wasn't an athletic policy, correct? I mean, because that would be negligence on our part.
Right.
So the only thing we're possibly having to worry about is I guess if someone breaks a leg or take it all the way to the worst thing, someone gets hit with a baseball and you've seen the tragedy where somebody died. I mean, I'm not suggesting that's gonna happen, but it's something that we felt you all should consider, rather than, you know, I wanted your input on what you think is prudent for the village. Do you want to spend the $1,500 for this athletic policy in addition to our general liability policy, or do you want to go with the waiver that we currently have and have been using? I know generally hold harmless agreements. When you talk to an attorney, they say, if it gets to court and, you know, it's a full-blown case, it's probably not gonna hold water.
Right.
I think that's generally what they always say, and because it's, you can't cede your rights, you don't, just can't say, oh, you know, I do. But these waivers are based on a lot of things. Yeah,
Gene, at 1,500, that just covers the village, it doesn't cover if they're playing in Champlain, it's just
Correct.
the village itself. And does Champlain split the cost, because Champlain residents are playing here?
Rouse's Point policy.
That's it. That's it.
Champlain doesn't have one.
I think it should stay the way it is. I mean, there's such a thing as being overinsured as well, and your general liability coverage is gonna cover it. They're gonna, you know, and we have an umbrella policy anyway, don't we? That's gonna cover something like that. Have you spoken to our insurance company?
I did. Northern Insuring has advised that we do not have this athletic policy, that we should have it, and they do offer it.
That's,
How come they never told us about this before?
That I do not know.
they offer it because that's what they sell is insurance, but if you look, if we looked into it a little deeper, I'm sure we could find it was covered under some other aspect of the policy, but I don't know that for sure.
Well, I don't either. I know, you know, what we have done so far, seems to have worked, you know, but, I mean, my house hasn't burned down yet, and I have insurance on it. I don't expect it to, but, you know, so I don't know, you know, what's your feelings are. I can understand what John's saying, that an insurance company is gonna want to sell more insurance.
Right.
And where'd you get this price, who'd you get it from?
This is from the Labarge Agency, and that's a ballpark estimate based on a policy that the village carried several years ago.
We had this policy up until 3 years ago when they switched from the Labarge Agency to Northern Insuring. And I believe at that time, I think it was set that things like this, that this policy covers, was covered under the other part of the insurance.
They did determine that it was?
I think they said it was back then,
Yeah.
but
Northern
and
said
now they're trying to, you know, get our business, and, so we haven't had this policy in 3 years, but even though you said we've been doing waivers for 8 years, so.
That's what I mean, this waiver was written by an insurance agency, it was written by Chauvin Agency. And the town, you know, uses them, and that's what they use for it. But again, the town doesn't have any fields, and, but the teams play, you know, like Rouse's Point might play a Moore's team in Moore's, and Moore's will come here, and we go to Champlain, basically that's where we go, or sometimes we go to Siler, Altona, and it just depends. But this policy covers what happens in the village only, so, yeah.
Our team goes to Altona, it doesn't cover them out there.
It's gonna be the
Their
host,
insurance?
it's gonna be the host.
Insurance.
Yeah,
was this village property.
yeah, this is village property, so that's why
I'd like to make a motion that we table the matter until we can look into the ins and the outs. Definitely, our riders don't help us, and also to maybe get a firmer price. Does it have to be with this one insurance company you've been talking to?
No, it doesn't, but she was kind enough to give me a quote, just so I would have ballpark figures.
Yeah.
Because the way that I have learned it goes is that after the season has completed and they have all of the children signed up, then you provide a participant list to them, so they are covered, but the premium
Yeah.
is based on participation.
I just don't like ballpark figures. You know, if they don't give you something firm in writing, this is what it's gonna be, they come back at the end of the season and say, well, you know, you had a lot of participation this year, which you might not have next year, so this is what we're gonna base our policy on, and the $1,500 might not fly.
I know the county's required that the rosters were supposed to be in by last Friday, and today, of course, another team, suddenly, there was enough holding these girls to form another team, the county agreed to allow that to happen, so that the numbers aren't firm yet. I guess, you know, there was a definite response to liability waivers from an attorney, and they're always saying, it's, you know, essentially, you can't give all your rights away, but they hold some weight. I mean, people sign them, reading them knowingly that they're gonna use their own insurance. But, you know, if there's a major catastrophe, you know, I think that, you know, our umbrella policy might, I think that's kind of what our treasurer is referring to, is that when they looked into it further, the umbrella policy did in fact, you know, cover things. So, this practice is starting with some of the teams. So I think the first games are by June 1st. So, you know, if you're seriously considering doing it, we either should or
I think it should be just left the way it is. I'm a little confused, and I don't wanna keep beating a dead horse here, but you said we were with Labarge, now we're with Northern.
that happened.
Correct.
That
Okay.
happened under the
Who
last.
did you get the $1,500 quote from?
It was large because they came forward
Did you ask,
advising that we did not have the coverage.
did you ask Northern if we are insured for this?
I did,
What did they say?
we are not.
Even under the umbrella policy?
If the NYMER covers our umbrella, NYMER does not offer this line of coverage.
But does the umbrella,
Northern was sending me to their life insurance, department.
More
To,
serious.
It doesn't make good sense to me. I mean, you know, if you're walking out there and you fall down, it's covered, but if somebody gets hit with a baseball, it's not covered. That just doesn't make sense. I guess it doesn't have to make sense, but, so Northern doesn't offer that type of insurance?
Northern as a company does offer through another vendor.
Okay,
Our current vendor is NYMER,
all right.
and they do not offer athletic insurance coverage.
So we need to get probably 2 or 3 quotes, I would think, before we even consider doing this. Thank you, that clears it up for me.
Thank you.
My motion to table it would only be until the next meeting. I mean, I wouldn't want to sit on this if it is in fact we want to take action on it, but John makes some good points, and like I said previously, I don't like working with ballpark figures or estimates.
okay, there's a motion on the table to table this action pending further information regarding cost from our particular vendor. And I don't understand how we can have a NYMER, which is specifically made to cover municipalities, wouldn't have this. There's a disconnect here somewhere.
They referred me to the website, to the waivers.
They said use the waiver.
They-
NYMER did.
They referred me there when we were at NICOM.
So our insurance company said use the waivers. And our broker said, well, we'll sell you the athletic policy.
That we should have it.
That, you know,
That makes sense.
that doesn't sound,
Leave it the way it is.
if NYMER is telling us, use the waiver. I don't know, to me, that's their job. That's-
Well, it was also, recall John Mancini that said that the waivers were dangerous.
He's an attorney, yeah.
So, I mean, you've got, you know,
Our insurance company,
differing
our
opinions.
insurance company said, there's the waiver from the website, use that, you have it. And they were satisfied with that. Which means if there's a claim, they're the ones that will have to fight it. So we're paying for them already. I don't know.
I still would like some more clarification on it, and also for us to go back to Northern and say, okay, if you don't offer it under, if we don't get it under our present policy, what is this company? Who is this company? What's the cost of a rider to our policy from Northern, from a separate company? Plus all the other clarification that I'd like to read and think over about.
Yeah.
disclaimers and everything else involved.
Yeah, okay. Well, that motion's on the table. If, you know, if someone wants to second it, we can move on, or we can have another motion.
Second that motion for
Okay.
information, it's not gonna hurt anything to,
Table it, okay?
you can still write them.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of table this, so we get more information.
I,
Opposed? On, you know, exactly what they're gonna do if an injury occurs in an athletic event. I think that's primarily what we have to have. If they say it's covered, I think it answers itself. So thank you for all the work you've done so far and for the work you're gonna have to continue to do. No way around it. Okay. We have to have a discussion on the renewal of wastewater treatment plant operator certificate and retention of employee after retirement. We have a possibility of, we have an employee who's going to retire, however, he's willing to stay on 1 day a week, not per diem. We were advised by civil service that he should just be a part-time employee, is that correct? And he would continue to train our current staff on the use of CAD, computer-assisted drawing, to map our sewer, our electric lines, our other lines that are currently all underground. So it would still be, he would still be on, online to do that. He's gonna have to be recertified after a year from today. Is that correct? 5/1/17.
Yes.
So we've got him for another year. He's agreed to work part-time till at least then. Is that correct?
Correct.
Are you guys interested in having that happen?
Is the money in the budget for it?
Yeah, is that something that in our, that could come out of wastewater plant operating budget to fund this 1 day a week position?
Yeah, I mean, it's not budgeted, we move monies around.
Look, we could find the funds to do this without, yes?
I believe so, I mean, I don't know how much money you're talking.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'll have to check into
Gene?
this.
The discussion was that Ernie could be utilized by the electric department while he's doing these CAD maps, and his funds could be paid from there for that 8 hours a week. He would just be making
Was
a
that a
lateral.
discussion with the treasurer?
Did you guys, no, huh? Did you guys have the conversation? No, you have not either. Okay. You and I had the conversation.
Right, we talked about retaining him for the electric department for just the CAD, not the recertification for the wastewater plant.
Well, that's not in the discussion right now anyway, it's just for the CAD. And if he is being used for the electric department, that portion of it can be funded by the electric department.
Well, yeah, whatever fund he's working in, this fund
Right.
should be paid.
Yeah, we're gonna use him up to his recertification
Oh,
at this
okay.
point.
Okay.
Is that what the?
Which is next year, right?
Yeah.
But primarily, we're not asking to keep him because of his wastewater duties, we're asking to keep him because of his CAD abilities, right?
Correct.
And those are more properly applied, at the present, what I'm hearing is more properly would be applied to the electric department rather than the wastewater.
Correct.
So, we're talking about moving him to the electric department.
Essentially, yes.
Okay. So now that's what we're talking about.
Would you have to create a new position?
Brian had something.
Yes, sir, Ms. Conkey.
Would that be funded out of the four funds?
I don't know, you have to ask.
The wastewater, the water, the electric, and the storm drain? because he's utilized in all 4 funds. He's the one that helped us design this CAD system, to put everything from paper onto a mapping system.
Right.
And, so we just like to finish it up while he's still here.
I mean, I think it's proved very valuable. What you've told me has been extremely valuable for everything from getting rid of poles to, you know, saying where new lines are. So this is we presently have this asset, and he's willing to go another year. You anticipate that he probably would be able to finish by that time, so he still could be used by the wastewater plant because he still has certification until the 1 year from this month, so, you know,
I have a question.
yeah.
With that in mind, and we have somebody, if I'm not mistaken, that is gonna be training for a slot up there, whether it be Ernie's slot or chief, I don't know, there's 2 slots that sometimes confuse me. One's a chief operator, then there's another one. But my more direct question would be, the person that's going to be training and maybe testing this fall for it, can he also be trained in this CAD system so that when a year from now comes around, we don't have to worry about a recertification of a wastewater license, because we would have covered 2 things. We would have used Ernie's services for a year, plus we'll train this other person so that we continue to have somebody on board without keeping Ernie beyond a year.
Okay, again, he started to train one person, and his goal would be to train the other operator who's getting once he acquires his certification, he's gonna train him in the CAD too.
Okay.
So, in the process of continuing the mapping, he would be training those people, yeah.
Do you need that in the form of a motion, Dan?
I don't know if we need a motion on this,
If you're going to reduce his hours once he fully retires, if you're going to reduce his hours to the 8 hours per week, then we'll need a motion for that. It can
okay,
be
now,
done-
but he's not gonna be paid on a per diem basis. He's-
Correct,
So it won't affect his retirement, he's still gonna be retired,
correct,
but he'll be paid civil service wages for that 1 day.
correct. And right now, he is, 20 hours a week?
Would you add something?
24 hours a week, and then to reduce his hours to 8 hours once he has completely retired.
Okay.
We would
Alright.
need a motion at that point, either now to do it, or in the fall when he does fully retire, once you have a definite date.
In case of these later, I would think.
Okay, so we'll wait till this, I think the board, am I correct in saying that the board will approve that? It's a good asset for us, and that we want to continue. So yes, Gene?
I just wanted to clarify that his license expires in February of 17.
Oh, it says 5/1/17 on mine.
But that
Wastewater
that
operation.
is the moot point, because Danny will have been certified by that time.
Right, so, but this thing says his current grade 2A wastewater treatment plant operator certificate number so-and-so expires on 5/1/17, that's incorrect?
Oh, no, I stand corrected. I have February 17.
Yeah, on your email to me, it says 5/1, so which one is it?
5/1.
Okay, good. So we
We still do the CAD, it'll be enough.
Right, yeah, he still could, but it's probably not. So come, when it's time for that meeting closest to his retirement, we'll bring that up, make the motion to reduce his hours and go from there. Everybody happy with that? Great.
Sounds good.
Good discussion, thank you. All right, the last thing that I have is, as you all know, we scheduled and completed brush pickup May 2nd through May 6th, where we picked all the brush up, chipped it all, picked all of the bagged debris that was there, picked it up, and as of that Friday afternoon, there was a couple callbacks. People were late getting out, they went back, chipped it, everything was done. Mr. Pelkey tells me now, people are still piling sticks, I mean, not a little bit. I mean, you're talking like 6 feet high by 10 feet long, Do we have any, I mean, my understanding is that Public Works has their schedule for the summer, and it doesn't include, because this took electrical and Public Works to do this, that's how big of a job it was. And we don't really have that in the schedule to start going around again and picking more stuff up. So are we gonna stick with the fact that our schedule is complete and not ask for additional pickups? Or what are your feelings of the board?
If we do, when's it gonna stop?
Exactly.
Chip this and that's it, somebody, so they didn't beat the deadline.
No.
My feelings are, yeah, that's right, we're not gonna go get it, but I firmly believe, strongly believe that we should have some area designated so residents can bring leaves and brush and so on to dispose of it.
I mean, just brush, we have one for leaves.
Well, just like we used to have before, but did we run out of space, Brian, for putting it, or we couldn't burn it
You
anymore?
can't burn it, you couldn't burn it anymore, and they're abusing it. There was
Well, I thought
tires
that's what we
and,
put in the security system for the cameras in, and it just seemed like
You
it
got
was,
one guy going up there right now, with a load of stuff.
it'd really be nice to have an area to put brush.
You're throwing tires down.
Well,
Is that- is that so-
garbage.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we do have a, you know, we do have a way to monitor it, not, we don't have someone sitting there watching, but we can do it and then have the police issue violations to them if they're doing it.
Nothing I expect anything to be done tonight, but I think it should be looked into, you know.
As the burning ban at that time was countywide, you could burn anything, right? And is it still in effect now?
it's the DEC that stopped us from burning.
Was
DEC,
it up until May 15th?
Thought they extended, no.
Oh, I don't know, I thought it was May 15th, that was it.
is there a possibility we can go back to that issue or have the brush pile there and, you know, just have the chipper out there and blowing the chips out into the field? I don't know. In other words, have a place for the village residents to bring it. Or is that, what are your feelings on that? I'm asking you, you're the one that has to deal with it,
Well, we offered to pick it up twice a year at curbside.
right?
I mean, if you start getting into the business of picking brush or chipping every week, I mean, it's gonna take away from our other projects. It's all right on rainy days, but unfortunately, we're trying to make hay while we can.
Okay.
And,
The problem also I have with that is, because of the security that John mentioned, or the lack thereof, is that there's nothing to stop one of these surrounding towns' residences from hauling brush up there behind the Public Works and dumping it off. Where we've got it in a controlled situation now, we know we're picking it up from residents. And I wouldn't want to see somebody clearing their lot somewhere for it to build their house on, and then we have all the inherent costs of chipping.
Okay, you guys are the ones that wanna have a nice, neat little village. Well, you're not gonna have it if they don't have any place to put the brush.
We did that for a long
Did that
time.
for 25 years, if I remember right, or more. And then all of a sudden, somebody decided that they didn't want to do it anymore.
Well, I'm not saying about the twice a year. I'm
Well,
talking
I'm
about
always
if
gonna
we
do that.
open it up to year-round where they can just dump on their own brush.
Well, we did that for a number of years successfully without problems, and people brought them up, and near the end, like Mr. Pelkey said, there was some garbage being dumped,
Tires.
some tires.
Oh, yeah, it was terrible.
We didn't have a way to see who did it, now we do. I mean, it's,
Even if you do it, like say you dump up there certain times of the year, once a month or something like that, just,
well, I think that's something for discussion to look into, and, you know, maybe that's a good possibility. Maybe we might have once a quarter, a day when, you know, when people could bring it in.
2 weeks we pick it up and ship it, and 2 weeks after that, they can bring it up and drop it off, or something like that. Because what are they gonna do with it? If you've got piles that are 6 feet tall, 10 feet, 10, 30 feet long, 10, 20, 30 feet long, what are they gonna do, leave it there? Nobody's gonna pick it up.
I mean, the guy up in Champlain Street, I mean, he cleaned his whole lot out, he must have had 5, 8, 10 truckloads there.
Yeah. Well, you know, at this point, what do you do with it?
But no, yeah.
Okay, well, I think you ought to talk to your constituents, see what they think, and you know, what the residents want, and let's, you know, try to represent their interest, and we'll see how that works out. Okay, well, thank you for your attention. Now I'll ask trustee Moore to report,
I have nothing to say.
okay? Trustee Mott,
We received a letter from the Rouses Point Fire Department for volunteer fire department assistance. And it's a grant. Donna, could you read that, please?
Sure. Dear Mayor and trustees, the Rouses Point Fire Department respectfully requests permission to apply for the 2016 Volunteer Fire Assistance Grant administered by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. The grant application is for $4,210.42 for the purchase of 2 sets of firefighting turnout gear. This grant requires a match of 50% of the grant amount of $4,210.42. The matching funds are available in the fire department budget, requiring no additional funding beyond current appropriations. Thank you for your attention to this request. Respectfully, Michael R. LeBlanc, Fire Chief.
Okay, and I put that in the form of a motion to accept it.
Second.
discussion. So that means it'll cost us $2,105, is that
No,
correct?
they have the money in the funds, in the fire department funds.
So the company's gonna pay for it.
Well,
That's the way-
the budget money.
The fire department budget, it's in their budget.
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Okay, second item. I also need to put in the form of a motion. We have 2 new members at the fire department for 6 months probationary period. Or they have been approved. Let's see. They have been approved to our company for a probationary period of 6 months, and it's Bailey LeBombard and Angelo Mercaldi.
Do you have a motion to accept their probationary appointment?
Second.
Second.
Further discussion?
Yes, just to let you know, Bailey is a member with restrictions. He's gotta be home at a certain time, because he's not 18 yet. His grade's gotta be up at school and all that.
Good. Company's taking care of, as good as interest, but the company's still making sure he got his priorities straight.
Correct.
Excellent.
School comes first.
Yep. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Okay, and my last item is, I make a motion for a resolution for acknowledgement of Gerald Roberts for 25 years of service in the fire department, Brian Pelkey for 25 years in the fire department as well, Jim Seguin, 30 years, Alan Nautel, 35 years, and Walt Laramie for a total of 50 years in the volunteer fire service. Now, Walt was in Shazy before, and I believe they're counting that time,
Yes.
and car time, so.
Do we have a motion for that?
I make a motion.
I made the motion.
Oh, second.
Second. Further discussion? These resolutions will be framed, and I'll present them to these firefighters at the annual banquet this year. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Do you have anything else, trustee Lund?
Nope, that's it.
Trustee Arnold?
Alrighty. I just got a couple things. On the bids for the surplus, who can bid on that? Who can bid on them, on the surplus stuff?
Okay, in our procedures manual, which I don't have with me now, it outlines, what the guidelines for that. I don't have it. But it's
Okay.
in your procedures. You can
Oh, all
look
right.
that at policy. You can look that up in your policy. It's in there. It'll tell you.
All right. I know that, it says, I think it says in the policy that the village trustees can bid on it, but the village employees cannot.
I don't know.
I think it's something like that.
We don't, yeah, well, that doesn't sound right, but,
Oh, anyhow,
if
that's,
it,
that's what I heard, anyhow, yeah.
well.
I didn't look.
Yeah, take a look, yeah.
Okay. And Nancy Baker would like to say thank you for removing the arborvitae at the park next to the drinking fountain. And the building maintenance down at the boat launch. I was looking at that the other day. Boy, that needs some maintenance.
In the back where the shiplap is, or whatever, on the back side of the building, it's so dried out that the building is just, the material was just curling right up
So
on
the
it,
siding's curling?
curling right up on it.
Sportsman side?
Sportsman side, yeah.
South side.
Really, really bad. And there's a fan that comes out of the building. There's no guard on the thing, you just see the fan, there's no guard there, nothing like that. And also, the park benches. I noticed at J.C. Penney's, they have park benches the same as the village has. And they stain theirs, and I think we ought to stain ours. Because there's a lot of black spots all over ours, when you can take your hand like this and wipe it off, and it comes off in your hand. And I think they ought to be,
Was that the pier in that?
all the piers and the ones down here, the ones in by the park and stuff like that.
Okay,
I brought that up at a meeting, last year and stuff, and George said that they didn't have to have them stained. The guy told them, recommended not to stain them. Well, if we don't stain them, I think they're gonna be deteriorating after a while.
They're concrete, aren't they?
No, they're like a wood composite or whatever.
Really?
What are they, Brian, do you know?
I think
they're
there's some,
composite, yeah. they're
Yeah,
not
something like
supposed-
a composite or
they're not
something.
supposed- You shouldn't have to sustain a composite.
Well, anyhow, these are pretty rough. It looked like they got mold on them.
Okay, well,
Maybe we just need to be clean.
let's have, I'll ask our administrator, see if we can get that looked at by our public works, or someone take a look at them, see what they can do. And, maybe swing by and let's see what we can do about the, maintenance of the boat launch,
Building, yeah.
building, yeah, see if we have any.
And also, the water plant floor is all done. And they're working on painting the pipes in there. Looks really, really good in there now. So I gotta give the guys a good slap on the back for a good job done. And also the tree in front of the nursing home, I don't know, or not the nursing home, the funeral home. It's got a humongous hole in it. It looks like it's pretty well on its way to fall down or whatever, I don't know, it looks dangerous to me, I don't know. Didn't we send,
Whose property is that?
it's on the funeral home property, but,
Call Clifford.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's good that you noticed it, and, if.
Yeah, if you take a look at it, we go by or whatever.
Okay. There are leaves on it?
Huh?
Still alive? There's leaves on
Yeah,
it? Oh,
well, so far,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, if it's a safety hazard, certainly we did notify our code enforcement officer, ask him to take a look. Certainly can't tell him what to do, but let him take a look and see what's, it's a safety hazard.
Okay, in the library, the spring break, movies, 14 children, and arts and crafts for 4 children. Outside sign repaired, brought in 3 new families and 2 new, took 2 cards. And cleaned all the easy bins, separate the fiction and nonfiction. Found approximately 50 books and need Dewey's labels on them. Reorganized the adult fiction books and numbered them. And they cleaned the carpet and ordered some new area rugs. And they ordered a new computer, magazine rack's been installed, a baby changing table's been installed. And that's it.
Is it a computer, a laptop, or is it a PC, you know?
It's a tower. It's just a tower.
Tower? All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, trustee Dart.
I've got a couple items. First one is, as required by law, every year we perform an audit on the village justice court records. I performed this audit on May 12th, and I found that all the records appear to be in an efficient and satisfactory order. The village court clerk, Marie Quain, shows adherence to all rules and regulations and maintains reliable management and control throughout her daily protocol. Mrs. McQueen takes pride in her work, and she also shows a respectful, helpful, and conscious effort to all she encounters.
Okay, thank you. Getting that done.
Second item that I've got is, I'd like to see a computer workstation or a laptop or something at the vacant desk right by Donna's in the office that we can come in and use, as there isn't one available computer to work at unless somebody yields their desk. I've found the need several times to go in there and try to research something. And I also, I'm a person that when I get an email, I generally print everything off for future review or for current use. And I'd like to be hooked into using the village instead of my own at home, the paper and ink. Also, it'd be handy to have a set of rules and regulations and code books on that desk so that we all can use. And the further benefit to, other than the trustee using it, was Mr. Pelkey or any other department head can come in, and if they need to jump on the computer for something, they'll have something right there. We have a phone there, but not the computer. I'd first like to find if we can get one donated, and if that route doesn't go, then we can discuss on further on how we can obtain one for that, if that's what the board's pleasure is.
Yeah, you mentioned you possibly could get a donation.
Yeah.
That would be great, and certainly I think a place for a common work area for trustees, good access to computers.
In the department heads too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think we need one,
Well, the department heads already have their own computers. Brian
Sure.
has one in his office.
Right, but if they come in and they're talking with Gene about something, Brian can go up to the computer and say, this is what I was talking about, print something off. So, but it's, I'm thinking of the trustees first. I know I use it a lot. I do a lot of research for the village.
Hand it down.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah. I'd like to do it without village expense, John, that's all. We just want to.
We might have one in
The internet.
We might have one in the safe that we can use, that you can use, or something like that.
we have a laptop in the safe.
No, not a laptop, that would be a tower.
We got a tower in the safe.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, let's see what you can come up with. I
Right.
think it's great,
Right.
you know, the possibility to get one and set up a workstation for the trustees. You know, it's there, the space is, that's what it's there for now, it's not used by anyone else, so, I think that's, everybody agrees. No reason for not to try to get it.
I guess, I mean, yeah, I guess I agree with you.
I mean, if we can get it donated, if we have to go the purchase route, then we'll have a different discussion.
Right, right. First and foremost, though, it's at no cost to the village,
Okay?
other
That's
than
great.
to operate it.
I think that's great.
Last thing I've got is, I want to thank the Public Works Department and the Electric Department for giving up part of their last Saturday to do some maintenance on the 115,000 volt line system while Pfizer asked for a shutdown. While that was shut down, the village took advantage of doing some minor repairs to the framing and the framework of that part of our operating system. And I viewed the inside of the substation for the first time. Everything was very well explained to me as they could in layman's terms. And also, both crews, you would think that they had worked every day on electrical items, the Public Works and whatever. They've established a very good routine when they work together, and they were very conscientious of each other and what each other was doing for safety and in conjunction with each other, and it was a good thing to see. So I'd like to thank both of those crews for their hard efforts on a Saturday.
I'm sure they appreciate your recognition, and it's shared by all of us. Anything else? That's all okay? Our administrator, do you have anything?
I do.
All right.
With regards to the water plant, several of us met with Jason Deno. He's a representative from CFS.
EFC,
EFC, my goodness. And he presented to us the possibility of applying for a grant similar to, well, same as the Barton and Lejudas feasibility efforts. However, he is a state employee and can provide a lot of information, assistance, hands-on type information and assistance that we really will benefit from.
Yeah, it's state funded, we're not paying an hourly wage like our engineers.
Correct. And he has, I have created a to-do list, if you will, for Jason and myself as far as providing information back and forth to one another. He has advised that he will reach out to various other grant providers such as the USDA to determine what they have available for funding. A gentleman by the name of Charlie Filion from an agency, OCR. He will also reach out to Kyle Wilbur at the Department of State. He's our representative on the northern border. I will provide him with information pertaining to the village's work thus far with rural water, with our engineer, Doug Ferris, as well as the information that has been pulled together by AES of Plattsburgh. And to that end, we will be working diligently towards readying ourselves to apply for the third round of water grants, hoping that we will be successful.
Okay, well, certainly something we're glad to see. We finally got a state agency involved here instead of hiring engineers. So there's no knock on the engineers, but always nice to have some state funded assistance. I think we had Trustee Arnold and Trustee Moore attended that meeting, right?
Yeah, very good information meeting.
Okay, excellent.
He gave us a bunch of brochures to read up on and stuff like that.
There's a lot of funding sources that we weren't aware of that keep the drinkers safe. Okay.
And he will find the AES report very beneficial, and he is going to reach out to them, as I said. He thinks that that report will put us farther ahead in securing the reports that we need to accompany the application. And at that point in time, the board would have to evaluate on which engineering firm we will need to use. I don't want anybody to think that this whole process is free, because we still will need an engineering report.
Right. Absolutely, yeah. This preliminary part gives us a list of all the things we have to do, and that's something we have to have, so that's great. Madam Clerk, do you have anything?
I have nothing.
Mr. Treasurer?
I know you want to hear this, but the June 1st tax bills are at the printers.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. From our Public Works Supervisor, Electric Supervisor.
Just an update on the electric, the outage. Now we're gonna be able to, we had Pfizer switch some load, different breakers, so now we can rehab the final breakers, so the electric department will be working on that. We started our summer projects on the curbing on the lower State Street. We're trying to get ready for the blacktopping, and that's part of the scope of the project. We did some storm drain repairs up on Stewart, some frost heaves that we dug out. You'll see cuts in the road that people ask. It's because of the frost heaves. We're gonna patch them, so when they come in and blacktop, they'll all blend in good together. We did some storm drains up there, so it's, our busy season is really starting to pick up here. We did get the trenching done down here at the Civic Center.
Oh, good.
They put in 7 lines out into the field, so we're letting them settle, and I think Cody's gonna topsoil those and take care of them.
The drainage tiles, right?
Yeah, the drainage tiles, those are all tied in. And it seemed with the rain that we did get, the last storm, I watched out there and there was nothing puddling, so it seems to be working out quite a bit.
How about the last snowstorm we had?
Well, I thought we'd have to put the plows back on the truck today, but.
Yeah, we sweep it again.
Yeah. That's about it.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
On the level 3 communication, Mr. Dart had mentioned,
We're gonna, that's litigation, we're gonna go into executive session for that, if
Okay.
we need, we'll discuss that.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
provide an
we're
update
gonna
on
go
that.
there. Okay, we have no other reports, I'd like to open the meeting for comments from the public. Do you have anything you want to say? Okay, I do need a motion to go into executive session to discuss ongoing litigation and the performance of a particular employee. Can I have that motion?
I'll make a motion.
Have a
I'll
second?
second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we will be moving into executive session. For now, I've asked for a motion to adjourn it. Get everybody out?
Second?
All those in favor?